nutrients. And what Jack and other scientists are finding is that when a child is subjected to violence or abuse, whether in the family or from living in conflict situations, that once again, the brain does not develop as well as it could have, at a huge cost to that child, at a huge cost to the family of that child, and a huge cost to that child's society. So this is a very big deal. It doesn't cost very much for families to give children the stimulation they need so their brains will develop. And the return on those investments are huge. Again, this is a very big deal, and it is certainly one of the priorities for Unicef.
For the fact that violence and poverty
Okay,
and
sorry.
Wait a minute. No need to introduce her.
it's okay.
Hello, everyone.
You just described the general.
Okay. So we now with Shakira, the UNICEF champion for early childhood development, has joined us, and she's going to be listening to the main messages that Dr. Shonkoff has shared with us all this morning. Dr. Shonkoff, your turn.
So the link between violence and poverty and other sources of stress, the link between that and not doing well in school, having more health problems, not living as long, that link is not new news. We've known about that for hundreds of years in every society. What's new is that we're living through a revolution in neuroscience and molecular biology.
The most excluded children at the heart of the agenda of the new Sustainable Development Goals, but also to make sure that all we discuss this week is about how all of us can give a fair start in life to every child in the world. So please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I think my colleagues will agree with me that we just came from a very productive meeting where we had some of the brightest minds from both the public and the private sector. We had Secretary of Education Arne Duncan, Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, and we were discussing during almost an hour and a half the importance and the urgency of investing in early childhood development strategies. I would like to share with you why I'm so passionate about ECD and why I advocate for it. I've been working in education since I was 18, and since then I, through my own foundation in Colombia, started to build schools in areas where there's extreme poverty and conflict and violence. And we've worked with children who belong to families that have been displaced by violence, families that have lost everything they had, basically they're refugees in their own country. And we have been able to impact 60,000 people, eliminated malnutrition in the children that we offered in education. Local gangs disbanded from the area, and we were able to bring electricity and potable water and even pave roads in combination with the local government, because this is how we work in our schools in Colombia, with always partnering with the local government. So they do their part of the job. And we have been very successful bringing quality education to thousands of kids in Colombia. However, not everything has been a path of roses. We had tremendous difficulties in order to provide quality education. It has been a process of trial and error. And we were at some point having a really hard time trying to keep kids in school, because some of them had never received proper care, nutrition, and stimulation in those first 5 years of their lives. So they weren't prepared to learn and to absorb the information. And that's when we realized that we were getting to these kids too late. And that's when I was introduced to research on ECD and the astonishing advances in neuroscience that blew my mind. and that show how ECD programs affect the developing brain of a child. And of course, from that moment on, that became a priority to us in our foundation, and that made all the difference in the world. It really did. So I was, of course, fascinated by all the striking information that I was stumbling across, but also it was fascinating to me to see how investing in ECD actually amplifies to the rest of society, you know, because investing in ECD boosts economic growth, it offsets inequality, and it helps eliminate crime and violence. So it really works, and it is, without a doubt, the most effective way to guarantee a more stable world, a more peaceful world, and a more prosperous world. But we need more commitment, and that's why we're here this week, and that's what we're here for today. It's a matter of putting children at the center of the social and economic and political debate, and their needs. Children's basic needs such as care, nutrition, stimulation need to be a priority, need to become a priority over any other human investment. And countries need to dedicate more of their GDP spend towards ECD initiatives and towards ECD strategies all over the world. And also, the private sector needs to pick up where governments leave off. It's the only way. Private sector and public sector have to work together as a team, because ECD is that kind of challenge that has to be met only through a joined-up approach. Otherwise, we fail. It is the most urgent thing that lies, the most urgent responsibility that lies within our hands. From an economic perspective, it is important, sure. It is very important because of all of these points that we have been exposing before. It boosts economic growth of nations, and of course we all want that. But take that to a human level, and the case becomes so much more stronger, because money isn't everything in the end, but investing in our children and in the future of our society is. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the United Nations Correspondents Association, thank you for this press conference. And I want to ask Ms. Shakira, as a Lebanese, or as a Unicef Goodwill ambassador, you are witnessing, like everybody, the crisis in Syria and the refugee around in the countries around Syria and beyond. This is the worst place on our planet for children nowadays. When you please tell us, how do you think about this issue? What message you want to convey to the poor?
Underneath it all. And I know that there are also concerns. Every country has concerns about their own economies, but I only hope that sometime soon we can have a world where human needs and human rights rise above flags and borders and numbers and selfishness and racism. Because I'm sure...
Please.
Imagine all the people sharing all the world.
Mr. Lake.
I hesitate to have words follow
Yes.
that such a beautiful
You should sing too.
thing, but I was playing air guitar behind you.
We have to be proactive. We cannot just look at today's greatest problems individualistically, separately, as if they weren't interrelated, as if they existed in a vacuum. We have to solve our greatest problems upon that cornerstone that should be education for all. So that's what I would like to say to the Pope as well, if I had the chance, because we do need more leaders to make this issue their own. And he's one of the most heard voices in the world. And we know that there are many people around the world whose voices are never heard. So we do need political and social leaders and business leaders and religious leaders out there to really prioritize children's needs, especially those basic needs that they need to cover in the first years of their lives. Bueno, en español, sé que la causa del Papa está asociada con el resultado de la inequidad, y la inequidad es el resultado de la falta de oportunidades, y todo esto genera violencia. Es que no hay violencia en los países en los que todos reciben igualdad de oportunidades, como por ejemplo los países escandinavos. ¿Por qué no hay violencia allí? Porque hay una igualdad de oportunidades. Y para mí, bueno, y está demostrado también para mis colegas aquí, que la educación es esa oportunidad esencial y la más efectiva para poder lograr un mundo en paz, un mundo próspero, económicamente próspero, pero también un mundo estable. Y eso yo creo que es todo lo que queremos. Entonces yo le diría al Papa que también sume su voz a esta causa de la educación, a esta causa por los niños, puesto que creo que es fundamental para acabar con la pobreza en el mundo, para erradicarla definitivamente.
Okay, I think that's, sorry, but I have received a message that the noon brief, the official UN noon brief has to start. So we will be taking any questions as Unicef after that, and we will just stick to the message. The world leaders shouldn't be just imagining a world in peace with a fair chance for every child. They should be starting to act and to make sure that that's a reality. Thank you so much for all of you, and sorry for not taking more questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.